Should probably unmute when I'm talking. So we are streaming, I believe, right now. So we are going to go ahead and start. Good morning. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026. We are so excited about all that we're going to be able to accomplish in this next 5 months. Just so everyone's aware, we apologize for this extra step. We are being asked to monitor attendance, and so that's what the registration sheet is for. Nothing other than trying to ensure that we are getting some parental involvement from the family engagement side of the house. I plan on asking for that when we have in-person meetings because you have to sign in through Raptor. So we'll just pull the based on that. If we have anybody from our parent organizations, we try to give them an opportunity to speak and update you on anything going on in that side of the house. Do we have anyone from any of our parent organizations? Trying to look at the list. If not, we'll come back to that slide towards the end of our session together. So today we're supposed to be talking about our upcoming tests and our scheduling. I am not sure if Dr. Harper is online yet. I don't see it, so I'm
here. I'm
great.
Sorry. I could not find my speaker button. I apologize. Good morning. So I'll go ahead and get started. Every year we give our scholars the opportunity to select at least 4 classes that they would be interested. Okay. They get to select 4 classes that they would be interested in taking for the next year for their connections courses. And so they actually did that on last Wednesday. And we sent the same presentation home to parents that afternoon. Can we go ahead and go to the next slide? This slide. So they have until January the 23rd, and this is for our current 6th and 7th graders. The link will remain open until the 23rd. So as many times as they need to, they actually can go back into the link and resubmit. Whatever is their last submission is the one that we will use to build their course request for next school year. So I do want to make sure that everyone understands that we cannot guarantee that they get all 4 courses, but we do guarantee that they get at least one of the courses. Next slide, please. I also want to make sure that I apologize, that everyone knows the difference between what a course request is and what a student schedule is. So a course request is just that. It's a course that's loaded on a student's request page. And what a student gets after we press the load button is the actual student schedule. So typically what we do is we will take the course request and we will load all of them on their page. And what actually ends up being scheduled will be scheduled. The only difference is certain courses, like if you are a current 6th grader and you are interested in a world language, that process is a tad bit different, as well as if you are in band, chorus, or orchestra, those classes are automatically added to your schedule for the upcoming year, unless you send an email to let us know that you want to opt out of that program. Next slide. So this is a list of the classes that we have, and built into this slide is a link that has an actual description of all of the courses that we offer here at Howard Middle School. Connections courses. They do take 2 connections and on an A and B day rotation, first semester and second semester, unless they are in a year-long course where they will be scheduled in that course from August until May. So, oh, okay. Just to point out, there are 2 different course request forms, and these are available within the student's grade level Schoology page. So we do want to make sure, I apologize, we do want to make sure that the scholars are completing the correct link. So if they are 6th grade, they will complete Rising 7th grade, and if they are current 7th graders, they will complete the link for Rising 8th grade. And we do ask parents to just have conversations with your scholars about the classes that they are selecting. We do want it to be the children's decision because ultimately they have to take the course. So it definitely needs to be something that they are interested in, but we definitely want parents to have conversations with their kids about what they're selecting.
So based on the question that's in the chat, students do not graduate from middle school. The only time a student graduates in this current space is when they finish high school. So there are no requirements as it relates to connections to lead to your matriculation to high school. We are required to schedule them for connections. Middle school is meant to be an exploratory space. So if the student has taken art this year but want to look at PE next year, those are open options. The only time that you really are required to stay in a pathway is once you get to 7th grade and you make the list to take the world language course because you are earning high school credit. And I hope that answered the question that was in the chat. You can follow up if you have another question or unmute yourself. We will now go back to the parent organization slide before we continue with continuous improvement and updates from the school. I saw that Ms. Eldery wanted to speak, and if anyone else from foundations, PTO, or boosters wants to speak at this time after she speaks, then that is your opportunity.
I guess I'll go ahead. My name is Dion Malik. I'm the chair of the Howard Go team. I also sit on the Midtown CAT as the chair of that, which is the cluster level, and then the district executive committee. Our next Go team meeting is towards the end of the month, and I'll pop that date in the chat for everyone as well as the website, because I know some of the websites have changed. Today is an Atlanta Public School Board of Education meeting, and the swearing in of the new members will happen, along with selection of the chair and the vice chair of the Board of Education, and potentially committee members and seats may change. So you can tune into that on YouTube. We'll be starting the budget process and adoption of the budget soon, and that's pretty much all that we have for you right now. And at any time, our emails are online. If you want to reach out to any of us, you can. Are there any questions?
Dion, thanks. It's Ben. Are there any watch outs for the budget process this year?
We haven't seen it yet as Go team members, but I was told last week by a principal that they had received it. So we will receive a report out on that. We've been told that small school supplements and transition funds may go away this year, which will potentially impact some of our elementary schools. And I will add that Principal Hollis and myself, as well as the vice chair of our Go team, Sudi Casimatis Nolan, were able to proactively meet with the CFO of APS back in October and ask several questions. We're hoping our projected number, which our budget is partially based on or largely based on, gets a little bit closer to the actual number, and that will help us out because we don't receive full funding for those students, just the budgeted students.
Thank you, Ms. Elderi. Do we have anyone from PTO or foundations at this time? We can also come back to that space at the end of the meeting. Again, I'll call for PTO or foundations to speak. All right, so we are moving on. Our continuous improvement goals for this year have been listed there. Go Team has been doing a lot of work to kind of streamline what the strategic goals are for the school with these goals, but on a 5-year plan. So for this year, we are looking to increase our end of grade ELA math by 5% and maintain our chronic absenteeism rate for CCRPI by keeping it to above 90%. I'm sorry.
Principal Hollis, you're on mute.
I just saw that. I have been doing a whole lot of talking. Okay, so what I said was we have been trying to get our continuous improvement goals aligned to the strategic goals for Go Team, and it looks more like a 5-year plan for Go Team versus an annual plan for continuous improvement goals. As you've read in the time that I was talking, ELA for milestones and math, we are aiming to increase those scores by 5%. And then our chronic absenteeism rate, we would like to keep that CCRPI attendance rate above 90% because we met the 90% goal last year. I do want to caution the community because we have new standards this year in ELA. So it'll be similar to what we saw a couple of years back when we had new standards in math, where the scores for the milestones for ELA are going to be delayed. You will not receive any scores by the end of the school year. It will look more like it did a couple years back when we hoped to have some data by the beginning of the school year. It will probably be closer to towards the end of first semester, if I recall correctly, what happened with math. It may or may not be a little bit worse because now we have essays involved and those have to be aligned with the scoring rubric as well. So since we were last together, we've had a lot of things go on. We've had our second administration of MAP, and you can see that data there. That administration ended in December. We were pleased in that our data improved for the majority of the students for this winter administration, which is not traditionally what happens. This is the final administration from the district. The school has opted into a third administration so that we can have more data going into milestones prep that is more aligned with where the student is developmentally at that time. We felt that using December data to aggregate testing plans for May and April was not prudent. So we decided to add a third administration, which will be in March, which is what the students are accustomed to. That was an opt-in. So it was not something that was decided by the district. Technically, we have met the district requirements. by having the August and December testing. So this is our math data. As you can see, as I said, 8th grade was the only grade that we did not see improvement. And there could be a couple of different reasons for that. As you can see, we have more 8th graders enrolled than we did at the initial August administration. So we had more students tested in 8th grade. So 8th grade is being very intentional on their progression. And if you've been keeping track with what we've done over the past couple of years, last year, 8th grade at 55% distinguished. So our teachers are very well versed with how to move students. So I'm not very concerned in that space. Our ELA map data is listed here. As you can see, we had the same trend with 8th grade, with them only having slight improvement in distinguished, but a huge increase in beginning. And again, our 8th grade teachers in ELA 2 years ago had 8% beginning level on the milestone. So they are very well versed in how to decrease that number. And they are working diligently in that space. And we also this year have a master teacher leader dedicated to ELA. So the focus will be more heavily in that space. But as you can also see in 6th and 7th grade, the data has improved. And I know we don't like to look at it this way, but from a state perspective, we're still trending in the right direction. We just need to give more targeted support in that 8th grade cohort of students. So as we talk about CCRPI, and that's what we're trying to ensure that we are improving in our evaluation of the school with the state based on their requirements. Here's a 3-year trend of the CCRPI scores. The 2023 scores were from 2022 to 23 school year. And the 2025 scores are the ones that we received in November, December. And as you can see, our single score rating has improved. We did have a slight decline in our closing the gap. And the reason why is because as we meet our targets, the expectation from the state is to do even better. So in that first year, we really met our targets. And so when you have like a 10% increase in 1 year, now you have to have that 10% plus a 3% decrease, right? And so it's not going from the actual targets that were created when the baseline data was given, but you have to keep improving. That's why you traditionally see schools toggle between a really high score and then that really low score that happened in 2023 that I inherited. What I am very excited about is that in that toggle space, we did not drop and decline as much as traditionally Howard Inman had in past years. So we declined a little bit over 10 points. But we expected it based on where we needed to get the students. And closing a gap is really based on our subgroup data. If you want to dive a little deeper, you can always go to the CCRPI website for the state. It will give you all of the schools and all of the breakdowns in the categories. Our purple scores are the scores from last school year, or rather the 2023-24 school year, and the black is from 24-25 school year. So again, you can see our content mastery went up dramatically. We are at a space now where we need to maintain our weighted averages for the different developing, proficient, distinguished students to stay above 90%. But as you can see, we made 100+ in those categories for math and ELA. Science and social studies increased or improved tremendously to go from in the 80s to now in the 90s in that weighted score. As you can see with our progress, we improved there as well. And when you're looking at this, this is dealing with the percent of growth our students have. So the first one is achievement, content mastery. Progress is growth that the students were able to maintain. Closing the gap, we discussed that. That's about improving your target performance that the state has given us for our targets. And then readiness, we did not discuss yet. That one is increased. And what is important to note in this space is really the way that we improve now is really around our attendance. As you can see, it went from 85.29 to 90.73. And our percentage of students reading at or above grade level, we went from 84.33 to 85.16. I'm going to pause to give time for any questions because I'm on a different screen and I can't see any questions that people might have. Does the state ever show the underlying data and closing gap info, or does the public have to dig that up from GoTeam meetings? You can go to the GOSA website, the Governor's Office of Student Achievement, and that will give you that data, and the CCRPI website as well gives you that data, but the DOE releases the targets every year. Yeah, I think that answers that question. Did I miss any questions, Ms. Moore?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, moving on. So we are now in our access testing, and let me go back to the previous slide where you see access testing is in progress. That progress towards English language proficiency, that is where access testing takes place. And you can see that we declined last year. What the state expects is that our English language learners to improve by 2 bands every year. And so that's where this test comes in at. The students who are new to the United States, they are placed in this regardless of where they're coming from. And they are tested for listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Ms. Moore, do you want to take over as our secondary if Ms. Owens is not on to give any more specifics to this area?
Sure. As she said, we just started access testing today. It's a very long window to test anybody who happens to be an English learner that is coming from, as Hala said, anywhere. It doesn't matter where their origin is. And we're looking for English proficiency. We have the 4 domains. We have to test where they are in listening and reading and listening first before we have them go to writing and speaking first. I think I got that right. So that we can figure out what tier they are. And then from there, we see what their progress is. And this helps us determine how we can support them best in their core classes. I think that's everything. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Okay.
And once they get the score necessary to say that they are proficient in English, that's what the exit criteria is. They exit this program and no longer need to test. I will also add that the first 2 years that the students are new to the United States, that data does not count on our milestones data. All right, Dr. Griffith, I saw you were on. We are going to give some STEAM updates. The biggest one is that the district has given us permission to revert our ability to get STEAM certified from Cognia. If you keep track of all of the board stuffs, Dr. Herring said that we could not use Cognia and only allowed us to do STEAM certification through the Georgia Department of Ed, but now able to go back to Cognia, and I was trying to give time for Dr. Griffith to get off mute, and I will let him continue.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are having a wonderful morning, staying warm. First update, we got all 20 projects submitted to our science fair. We're working on correcting some things. They sent us back through feedback today. Last week, I submitted 20 students. Some of them were honorable mention. Some of them were students in Mr. Baker, Ms. Jones class, or Ms. Leibowitz class, and they'll be participating in the technology fair. That's in February as well. Today starts off our Hawks Novellas recycling challenge. It's going well already. We actually started recycling last week. We have some containers that were donated from the Hawks that are already full of recyclables, but we'll be going to State Farm Arena tonight for a kickoff celebration. We'll meet executives from the Hawks and Novellas. They'll give us items used to collect the data from the recycling, and it'll conclude a month from now with a grade level party for the winning grade. And that's it. Oh, also, if you have any students, you can have them bring in recyclables from home, and it'll count towards the count that we have every Friday.
Do you want to
So,
go into more specifics around the number on the recycling?
Number, what do you mean by number? I'm sorry.
On the bottle next to the triangle, not all things can be recycled that we say can be. So only numbers 1 through 4 or 1 through 3, they were saying, for plastic recycling.
That's correct. Yeah. So aluminum, plastic, those things are suitable to bring in for students recycling, and cardboard.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Griffith.
No problem.
We are working on increasing our PBLs this year as well. Did you want to give any voice to the ones we've completed and what we're going to do going forward with that? And PBLs are project-based learning opportunities.
Yes. So one Monday out the month is typically the second Monday out the month. I work with teachers by grade level, connections 6, 7, 8. We work on PBLs, but this month we're starting our PBL work that we planned all first semester. 8th graders work on the food truck. They'll come up with a business plan, marketing. They'll be presented during our PBL showcase. 7th grade is working on a taste test. Some people have a genetic marker where they can taste a chemical on a piece of paper. They're going to take that data to their math class, do probability. And then 6th grade is doing a recycling event with the Beltline, where they come up with ways to for people to recycle on the Beltline, because there's currently no ways. So they want to reduce the number of waste on the Beltline. So that's something that we'll be working on heavy this semester. And we'll be using our STEAM notebooks and STEAM journals that was our first time using. That 7th graders already started using, and it looked very, very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question in the chat around the window for MAP testing. Let me give some voice to that. We decide to begin at the beginning of the window. Because, well, let me first start by saying that all students, I think we got 99% of the students tested, Ms. Moore.
Technically 100%.
Oh, okay, 100% of the students tested. We do not create the testing window for MAP. The only thing we're given are the windows. We try to begin at the beginning of the windows because life happens. We are in a building where we might not have power, we might not have water, we might not, I mean, so it's so many things that we don't control. And so to give us the best possibility of having all the students test, we try to start testing towards the beginning of the window. We advertise our testing windows starting at the beginning of the school year so that people are aware of when testing windows are, because we are aware that the second window is right after Thanksgiving break. This is the first year that window was so important, and we did also note that and say that in multiple principals' copies, go team meetings, and such. That was not a decision that was made at the school. The only decision we made at the school was to decide to have a third window. And that third window is to ensure that all the teaching that has been done over the course of December to March is accounted for when we start to have small group testing, prep, and things of that nature leading up into the milestones testing. So, we cannot say whether or not it will happen again. What I can say is with the delay of 1 to 2 days, let me explain why we try not to do that. If you recall, if you were a parent, was that August that we had the water main issue and the water pressure issue? No, that was last year. This year we had the heating and air conditioning issue in 8th grade. So we were not able to test the students in 8th grade during the original dates because we don't want the students to feel uncomfortable and therefore not test well. Again, these are things that we can't really control. And so we were able to still meet the demands of hitting our 95 plus percentage of students tested because we start when we start. And when life happens, we can adjust and still have time. And then any absences or students that need additional time to complete those tests, we have to schedule those throughout that window as well to ensure that all students are able to complete the test. So that is the rationale around the dates. We cannot use the optional spring map to guide placement in classes because the district said it's not required. So when we're having those as decision-making criteria, then we have to have everyone to have access to that decision. And that means students coming in from other schools, because we do have mobility rate in Atlanta Public Schools being an inner city district. We have to have clear criteria, and the clear criteria was the winter map. There are options for second look if you're looking for something specific, and those criteria are being kind of fleshed out. I think that the district created an accelerated math website to talk about how you can get a second look as it relates to math, and they are completing the second looks for science as we speak. So our current enrollment is 1191. You can see how the demographics break out for that percentage. As you can see, our goal was to stay above 90% for that CCRPI attendance, and we are at 91.2% as of this morning. Of course, 6th grade is doing great with attendance, but 7th and 8th grade are very close to each other, as you can tell in that chart. From a behavioral standpoint, we are trending very closely to last year. I will say with the 0 instances, you can't really compare last year to this year as an apples to apples comparison, because as you can see, our number one incident is around cell phone violations. with almost 1,200 students and only having 154 students who have violated, and some of them being repeat offenders. You can see that our way for the day is working, but when you get that cell phone violation, that takes you out of the number of students with 0 instances. I think I am done for today, unless we have any questions. Our next principal coffee is virtual as well. It will be on February 26th. We will be having some people in to talk about social emotional um, growth, so that you can partner with us at home to do some things or be aware of what challenges you're having or experiencing as a parent with this very specific subgroup of age. And we are trying to get someone to kind of address some mental health issues around anxiety and things of that nature. I am going to stop sharing and we can open the floor for any outstanding questions that I have not answered. Looking at the letter situation around the eligibility for physical science, we pushed for the district to give us the information as soon as we could. We gave it out as soon as we received it. So I do apologize for the delay in the information. I will say there's nothing that you can do to improve your MAP score. So the only thing you can do is actually take it seriously and try, but there's no amount of tutoring that can get you into a higher MAP score because it's not testing specific standards in a content. It is more so looking at your progression holistically. Ms. Elder, you had your hand up.
I just added that the revision to the electronic device policy is being for final approval today at the board meeting. I just wanted to add that on to your comments about the electronic devices and the red line version I popped in there. That is to align with the updated legislation that was adopted last year. So if anyone's looking for the new policy, that is the new board approved district policy. Or it will be up for vote today. It's in consent agenda.
Thank you for that. The Second Look website, I will have to look that up. Ms. Moore, do you have access to it right now at your fingertips?
I do not.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up and we can send that out. It was sent mostly to our feeder programs because traditionally the students that are in the school, your accelerated path for math starts in from the data from 5th grade. So we wanted to make sure that they got that information. So we can send that out.
The math second look is for rising 6th graders. Current 6th graders or 7th graders, their second look type opportunity, they will receive notification and would be required to attend the Level Up program for placement in a different math track for next school year.
Do you have the link that tells parents about that specifically? That's the question.
Let me get out and find it.
If we cannot find it while we're on for the next few minutes, I will make sure it gets sent out through all the channels. Oh, thank you. Is this it? Yes, thank you, Ms. Eldery.
Thank you, Miss Eldery.
Great. The next window for MAP testing is in March. Mm, More specifically, it will be
March 23rd through the
I was-
27th.
Thank you. I was just about to say it. Found it. Second to last slide. Okay. Is this if you can tell me which slide you're looking for specifically, then I can go back to the one you're in need of.
The one that was the incidents.
Oh, I was there. Oh, forgot to say this. Report cards will be mailed today, if I'm not mistaken, and beta club letters are being given out this week for 6th grade students who qualify to be in beta club. And there was one more thing, and tell your friends if they're not still on, as it relates to athletics. If you are in 8th grade, you are not qualified to compete at the high school level. And this is more so for like club sports. Club sports are made for those students that's attending that school. Ultimate Frisbee was one that came up, and I just want to go on record as saying we have an Ultimate Frisbee team. And so students that are in 8th grade must compete with the Howard Ultimate Frisbee team. They cannot compete with the Midtown High School. No, we are not doing any introduction classes to cursive. That is a 3rd grade standard. Maybe that's the rollout. It's a 3rd grade standard. The state is doing a banner for those students who can write their name in cursive if we hit 90%. So there are opportunities that we're making around that, but we are not launching a cursive class at the school. Oh, I'm not sharing. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Why was athletic registration website changed from Dragonfly? I can't answer that. I think it has something to do with the fact that it was changed maybe for the district. And so in order to be aligned with the district requirements, we changed from Dragonfly to Snapchat, and that was done last year. Got it, Miss Tool. Yeah, we're just trying to give, because it became a cursive standard when we adopted new standards, we wanted to give students the opportunity to practice sometimes, as if you didn't do that as a parent, then they hadn't gotten any practice with cursive writing. So we did send home some practice sheets with some students who could not. Award ceremonies, there will be a flyer in the report card around the award ceremonies. They are during the day, they're during the connections time. So 8th grade will be around 11, 7th grade will be around 2, 6th grade would be around 3, and don't quote me on those. It'll be around that time on the 27th. The January honors program is just an awards program where we honor the students who had all A's and B's, who had improvement, who show citizenship, who do outstanding work in their connections classes. I feel like I'm missing a subset of awards, but those are the categories. And traditionally, majority of the students get something. I'm not gonna say all, but majority of the students are invited. Did I get everything in the question bank, Ms. Moore? In the chat? If not, we'll use these last about 3-4 minutes. You can get off mute and ask your question.
Hi, this is Jennifer Thomas. I had a question. I just didn't know what the this infographic you're sharing, what that information at the top right was. So it says EL and gifted and SWD. I wasn't sure what all
Those
those
are the
meant.
percentage of students. So demographics, this is by race first, and then by designation, I'll say second. So EL is your English language learners. Gifted are your gifted students, not talented, but just gifted. Students with disabilities is that third marker, and students who have 504s is the last marker. And you can be in multiple categories. So it's the percentage of students out of the whole that have that marker.
So half of the students at the school are in the gifted program?
Over half of the students
Oh,
are gifted.
wow. Okay. Is that normal?
No, not at all.
Okay.
That is not at all normal.
I might have, this might be a dumb question or it might have been already asked. Is there any way to take specific video games off of the school issued devices? Like Minecraft, I know, is on those computers and has seemed like it's been an issue in our house at any rate. Is there any way that the school can issue devices that don't have the ability to use those programs?
So Minecraft is an educational program, so I'm going to venture to say probably not. Unfortunately, it is used from an educational perspective. The other programs, there really aren't many game-based programs on the device. The device just can go to the websites and the games are on the websites, if that makes sense. So the only games that are actually given are the ones that's in my backpack.
Another quick question for me. What are some of the things that are being done to help some of the kids, I guess, like make friends and kind of socially integrate in at the school?
Do I have any of my counselors on? I'm not sure if they're on. We do various programs. Really through SEL, we talk about how to meet new people, how to handle conflict management, how to think about yourself as an entity in a whole, or think about yourself as how you present to others individually. So that kind of is covered in that space. In the cafeteria space, we have different weeks where our ambassadors do things like sit with a student you don't know, random acts of kindness week. It's just different things that we do from a counseling perspective, and restorative perspective to kind of help students to integrate with others. We also have a program that we handle with the teachers where we ensure that they have a connection with someone and really talk about sense of belonging so that the teachers can be aware and be more cognizant of situations that may present itself where a student doesn't feel like they belong. So we take a lot of time and energy around professional development in that space. If your student has not integrated in that space, please reach out to the counselor, grade level counselors, so that we can do more targeted things. We do have Check and Connect where the counselor goes to check on the student to see how they're integrating, or the counselors really help the students facilitate the ambassador space. So that can be something that they can elevate if we need to do more of those. Connect with someone that's seated alone or something like that. I hope that answered your question. Great, thank you. It's different when you can't see people's faces when you're in front of each other. You're like, oh, okay, I got it. But here it's like, did you get it? I think that concludes if the student honor for spring semester. Is it anyway? No, we don't do a spring semester honors space. I think they do more like fun awards in spring semester. We do the awards program for fall semester. And it's more fun awards in spring. It's not academic based. But we can take that into consideration. I can't promise that anything will change this year around that. It's just difficult because we're still testing. And now this year, 8th graders are going to have to do retests for math, milestones, those who are beginning level math. We got to test again. So it's just time and resource dependent, and it's difficult. And to do it when we return, 8th graders are gone. We don't know the 6th graders to be able to do that. So it just makes it a little bit harder to plan for awards. That was a question for spring.
Like, oh, this one is noted, like her blood pressure dropped to like 100/55. Like, I don't think it's appropriate to do this outpatient period, right?
All right. So thank you for coming. See you in February. Try to stay warm